Hello, this is Amy Kenyon, and this is my classroom management final presentation for EDCI 2440, my online course with Erin Jensen. Building a community in your classroom. I have learned that a classroom community is one of the most important aspects of teaching. It is one of the most valued ways to create a community between myself and my students and to build a caring relationship with them and check in about their lives often. When students come together, a cohesive pride in the learning takes place, as well as less disruptions and misbehaviors. In the classroom community, the teacher could move students' desks together so that they could work cooperatively and have time to talk with partners in their table groups about both academic and personal subjects. A teacher could develop some community by building strategies to create an interconnectedness among the concepts and guide the students to develop relationships within the classroom. It is also important to have a community because it supports and develops dialogue and fosters belonging rather than isolation. And when students feel supported by their teacher and the peers, they are more likely to succeed. How I will apply a community in my classroom is to have my class create a classroom constitution where we will have classroom guidelines that we produce together as a class. These will be displayed on our classroom walls so that they will be always visible for the students and myself. My class will have our own classroom pledge that we will recite every day that we came up with together after the Pledge of Allegiance. My students will have a morning meeting every day or a circle where we can share a bit together before starting a day about our weekend or about interesting subjects to us. This will help us stay connected and relevant in each other's lives. My classroom will have jobs that each student will be rotated through on a weekly basis. I will use the facilitate, listen, and engage approach in my classroom when I serve as the facilitator by planning the lessons. The students will then participate in the listen phase when I establish the lesson and the framework for the lesson. And then the engage phase will happen when the class has discussions and does the lesson. This framework is designed to establish a sense of belonging while the students are actively engaging in the learning process. Designing a learning environment. I have learned that an effective classroom has a climate of work, a showcase for learning, and helps for students to see key features or vocabulary that impact their learning, and it should allow for easy access and movement. Learning in the classroom requires the students to be actively engaged with the learning content and with each other. The learning space also is a key feature. The design is a key feature for students and teachers' success. In a learning environment with the peers classrooms, the learning environment should allow students to work both individually and collaboratively. The classroom should be designed so that teachers and students can move about the room, and it should open space for mobility and communication between the students and the teacher. The wall decor should be an abundance of learning and should encourage and stimulate their ability to think. The visual, should follow the function of the classroom and consider the learning objectives of the learning unit. I will apply in my classroom. I will have a safe and secure place that allows my students to feel comfortable and stable. My classroom will have a climate of work that includes playful features that sparks their imagination and makes them feel happy and comfortable, and designs that are playful but still educational since I will be teaching third or fourth grade. My classroom will showcase learning that includes charts, diagraphs, diagrams, math facts, vocab, calendar, and other features that support our learning in the classroom. My classroom will allow for easy access and movement. I will arrange my desks and students often, probably on a monthly basis, to keep them from getting complacent and also to help them engage with all of their peers. My classroom will be a place of trust and communication. Running a classroom. I have learned that without proper classroom management, the teaching environment can be frustrating or overwhelming. Practical techniques can provide tools for addressing challenges, engage the students, and foster productive and fulfilling learning. A variety of teaching techniques is key to engage students, and the teacher should have a list of options that they can incorporate into their lesson plans. A teacher must deal with unexpected events and have the ability to develop appropriate behavior patterns. and classroom management involves discipline, not punishment. They are completely different things. An effective classroom behavior management can be influenced by situations in the classroom. Almost all classroom behavior is learned, and behavior can change as a result of its consequences and can also be influenced by classroom context. How I will apply it is that I will keep the students engaged in working the entire class period or the length of my lesson. I will do this by having morning work or bell ringers, they're called. I will also have extensions to lessons if the students finish before the length of the lesson time. I will be prepared for all scenarios of extra time in lessons or projects so that there is no wasted time in the classroom. I will run my class effectively by having clear classroom expectations and rules. I will walk around the classroom at regular intervals to observe my students working and their behaviors. I will also communicate that I am watching and looking for their progress. I will motivate my students to learn by teaching them how to do it in a manner that is relevant, meaningful, and memorable. And I will have a variety of teaching techniques to encourage my students and have a list of options that I can incorporate to my lesson plans. Communication. What I have learned for communication is that effective communication is a key contribution to the academic, emotional, and social success of my students. There should be several mediums for communication between families and education personnel, so they can include technology, email, or traditional methods like notes. When it comes to communication between teachers and families, it is important to realize and understand the overlaying goals between both teacher and parent. Technology can improve communication with various tools and resources, and there is a variety of media and technology that allows communication in a variety of formats. Communication is a paramount tool in education, whether it be teacher to student, teacher to teacher, or teacher to parent. Communication is needed to ensure the student's success. I will apply the things that I have learned by having open communication between the students' parents with multiple forms of communication and keep them connected on their students' progress, on their child's progress, and I will have support for the student's success. I will make sure to have positive and productive communication between other teachers in my school um, and administration, as well as my students. I will have an open dialogue with parents of students that may be struggling or have disciplinary issues to produce ideas together on how to correct behavior or help with their schoolwork and grades. My classroom will be a place where my students feel safe and secure and can talk to me about any issues or concerns they may have. And my classroom will be a place of mutual respect that will have a zero bullying policy. Disruptive behaviors. I have learned that low-level disruptive behaviors occur frequently in the classroom, and aggressive and antisocial behaviors are less common. Maintaining an orderly learning environment is important because it is associated with high student engagement and achievement. An engaged student will have less disruptive or negative behaviors. Disruptive behaviors can be caused by some student levels, and some students may find that the lesson may be too easy or too difficult. This can result in a disengagement with the tasks that can result in negative behaviors. Other students may not feel challenged enough and withdraw from the lesson because they could be bored or frustrated. Clear rules stated in the classroom will help keep defiant and disruptive behaviors at bay, and rules should be expressed in a positive way rather than making a list of do's and don'ts. I will apply How I will apply this stuff that I have learned in this class is I will address disruptive behaviors in my classroom with a step system. Step one would be to give a warning or reminder. Step two would be to have the student move by themselves for an in-class timeout. Next, for step three, the student would have out of class time for a period to fix themselves and fix their behavior. And the final step would be a referral to the school leader in a school suspension. I am going to have to continue this video in a second part because I'm running out of space. So I will come back and start with how I will apply it with disruptive behaviors.